All right, thank you for staying with us. It's still Sports Tonight. Let's just quickly do some updates for you and also tell you that apart from the Nations Cup games and the EPL games currently going on, we also have the Copa del Rey in Spain that's also currently going on. The first leg of the game between Atletico Madrid and Barcelona is going on. We've played 15 minutes of football in that one already, and guess what? A goal has already been scored, and it is Luis Suarez with a goal for Barcelona, who are leading away from home. So it's 0-1 to Barcelona. Atletico Madrid 0, Barcelona 1 in the first leg of the Copa del Rey currently going on in Spain. Luis Suarez with a goal for Barcelona. But guys, let's come back very quickly and take a look. Stay in Gabon, venue of the Africa Cup of Nations, and talk about the fallout. We're down to the final 4 teams now. By every standard, the coaches of these 4 teams probably would think that they've succeeded. You made it to the semi-finals of the Cup of Nations, and apart from maybe Ghana that were losing finalists the other time, the likes of Burkina Faso, Cameroon, will feel that, look, getting to the semi-finals, you should be getting some pat on the back. Yeah,
I mean, if you get to the semi-final of a flagship tournament like the African Cup of Nations, then it's no mean feat. For me, I don't think for now their job is at stake. Because what it means is at this level, these are the best 4 teams on the continent. And I mean, it takes a lot of hard work, a lot of tactical inputs, and the coaches can beat their chest and say, yeah, we have done it. When you get to the semi-final, shouting distance to the final, and it requires maybe sometimes luck, penalty shootouts, and you really cannot blame anybody for that. So I think they have done well.
Let's talk about the coaches that have already thrown in the towel now, who have decided that no more. Let's start with the more recent one. Henri Kasbazak is the coach of Tunisia. He's a veteran on the African continent. He's been there like forever. He's called it quits with the Carthage Eagles of Tunisia. But I'm worried because Tunisia are right in the middle of the World Cup qualifiers. This, for me, will just throw all the plans overboard.
Definitely. I mean, it was very, very shocking when I heard it. When I heard the news, I wasn't there. I mean, they did fairly well in this competition. Fine, they lost against Burkina Faso, but they were able to beat Morocco. I mean, they have a Nations Cup.
Beat Algeria.
Algeria. They have a Nations Cup qualifier coming up very soon. So there's really no window. And they have a World Cup qualifier. So really, but anyway, you have to understand these coaches. If they feel that they cannot deliver, I mean, they've been through a lot of pressure. I think this is the best time to throw in the towel so that it will enable the teams enough time to get a viable replacement and get on with the preparation for the other tournaments.
All right, so Orica is a very experienced man. Yes. He's always well-traveled. Mali, I think it was was it Mali the last time?
Yes.
He's been with Tunisia before. Yes. Remember, then Mali. And he's always traveled around, so it's called it quit.
Maybe on a personal, maybe
family reasons.
Family reasons. Maybe on the personal record, he could feel that he has failed, and you know some of these expatriate coaches, when you put them under severe pressure, maybe the fans, the federation.
Yeah, but then don't you weigh your options and look at the bigger picture? This is in the middle of a World Cup qualifiers, for example, and you throw in the towel when Tunisia are in good position. In the World Cup qualifiers?
Well, it's a man that wears his shoes that know where it pinches. Exactly. Sometimes the federation will just tell him to, resign honorably. We don't want to sack you. We don't want to, dent your profile. Just throw in the towel, because we're likely to give you the boots. So that may be the case.
Michel Dussuya of Cote d'Ivoire also had this kind of problems. A lot of the people back home in Cote d'Ivoire felt it wasn't doing a good enough job, and that Cote d'Ivoire was struggling even to qualify for the Nations Cup. It was a late scare from Sierra Leone, and then in the World Cup qualifiers, a lot of pressure as well, and is had to leave the job now.
No, I think that of Dussuya was inevitable because this team has quality, and as a coach, you have to at least finish honorably. I mean, for the defending champions with the quality in this team, You played 3 games, Tony. You drew 2 and lost 1.
Defending champion.
It's a miserable result. So
with the quality of players that they have,
he has to go.
Yeah, but then they are building a new team, so couldn't that have been a good excuse that we are trying to? The Yaya Tourés are gone, the Didier Zokoras are gone, Kolo Touré are out. So they are building a new team. Couldn't that have been a good excuse for the people to be patient with him to complete this assignment?
The fact is the team is struggling at all, struggling seriously. You know, when you look at their play, you realize that they don't command games. They just manage to grind
labor
through. And when you look at it, you can easily say this team it doesn't look like, you know, they are going to go far. And with the management of the team so far, with him being in charge, it's important they do the necessary tweaking now. So that was why he had to give way.
Let's talk about Algeria very quickly. Also, it's a long time they left the competition, but they came into this competition with a lot of pedigree. They had gone unbeaten for so many years until they met the Super Eagles of Nigeria last November. And everybody felt that, look, this is the year that Tunisia will do it again after they won in 1990. But guess what? George Lenkens, who had barely spent 3 months on the job, has also called it quits with the Desert Foxes.
I don't really envy some of these coaches.
The number of coaches Algeria have had
in
1 year.
Another Swansea in the
it has been quite chaotic. I think the federation has to do a lot of surgical, operation. Maybe the players, the attitude towards the national team. It's not really about the coach. Yes. Before they played us, the coach left.
Milovan Rajevac,
the Serbian coach, they brought in Lekins. They didn't get desired result. But you have to look at it. What is really wrong with the team? Perhaps it's not the coaches. Perhaps it's the attitude of the team, the players. They have some quality players, not in doubt. Riyad Mahrez, Slimani, and the rest.
Brahimi. It's bringing with quality all around.
But I think the same thing that happened to them at the last Nations Cup has repeated itself. They failed to make it out of the group stage in Equatorial Guinea, and it has happened. So I think the mentality of the players have to change towards the national team. It has nothing to do with the coach. The coach will always try his best, especially if he's a foreigner. But if you are not willing, as a national team player, there's little or nothing he can do.
All right, let's talk about Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe came into this competition, and everybody said, look, they could be the dark horses. Started on a good note against Algeria. 2-2. Yeah. But along the way, the stage became too big for Zimbabwe, and their coach has also decided to call it quit. They've had enough. Yeah. So let me take the back seat. But they don't have any worries, no World Cup qualifiers to play. So it's something that we can understand, that there's no football for Zimbabwe apart from maybe the 2019 Nations Cup qualifiers.
Yeah, jungle don't mature, as they say. Definitely. They were able to get, surprisingly though, 2-2. And when the competition became very serious, they had to give way to other teams, no doubt about it. I thought that the coach would have stayed back, seeing that they don't have tournaments ahead, to at least build this team. I mean, to even qualify for the Nations Cup is not a mean feat, it's an achievement. So, but I'm sure some personal reasons must have played a role in the decision to quit, at this point in time.
The coach of Uganda, Milutin Zrejovic, is also saying, my contract is expiring, but a coach doesn't close up all his options.
He's been old, and he's asking the Ugandan Football Federation to pay up, or else he will leave, because, I mean, the guy is hot now. It's like a hot cake.
What was able to do with Uganda?
Yeah, South African footballer we learned are looking for him. Even the Ghana Football Association are also looking, trying to woo him. So he's telling them, you have to pay me for the work I've done. If you don't do that, then I have to take my destiny to my hands. I think it's not good enough to him. When you employ a coach, you should make efforts to pay him, so that he will not be distracted by offers, more lucrative offers. If they lose this coach that has done so much for them, remember.
And don't forget, Uganda are also in the midst of the World Cup qualifiers, and they're doing well.
And they're doing well. They drew against the Black Stars of Ghana away, and they won their home game. And they didn't do badly at the Nations Cup, considering the caliber of players they have, apart from Denis Onyango and the lad who is in Belgium,
Farouk Mia.
I think the edge they've had is the input of the coach, and you have to treat him fairly. if he has done a good job for you and you have a contract with him, you have to, abide by that contract.
Guys, let's quickly talk about Nigeria now. Where does this put us? We didn't go to the Nations Cup, so we are not under pressure to deal with our coach or be happy with him or be sad with him. But how can we build on the fact that we were not at the Nations Cup, we've seen the teams, get our group together and be able to maintain our momentum going forward?
Well, we are well rested, as they say. Our coach has been there. We have the opportunity of having a ringside view of what is happening. We can do our analysis. Our players are not there. They are fresh. Although most of them are playing in Europe, of course, they are fresh. I think we can just look and, make our strategy, see the form of these teams. Whatever, let's say we're looking down on them. Now, for example, Cameroon now with their success, we know them better. It puts us in a position to prepare, better for the games against them.
All right, let's take you back to Gabon now. As you can see on your screen, the Egyptians have scored, and Mohamed Salah with the goal after 66 minutes. So it's Burkina Faso 0, Egypt 1. That's the update from that first semi-final game of the 2017 Africa Cup of Nations. Egypt are in the lead, and if their record in this competition is anything to go by, they've not conceded any goal. If they're able to do it again, then Egypt will be through to the final. But there's still a lot of time. There's still over 22 minutes of football left, so a lot can still happen. The Egyptians can score more, Burkina Faso can come back, and anything can still happen around this game. But at the moment, Mohamed Salah has scored for Egypt, the lead Burkina Faso by a goal to nil. All right, guys, let's pause for a break. And when we return from the break, Yemi Adebayo will be joining us. We'll allow Joseph to take a break. But Joseph, thank you so much for coming on Sports Tonight. We've enjoyed your company on the show, so we look forward to seeing you again and again. We'll go on a quick break now. When we return from the break, we'll be spending time to talk about domestic football, the Nigerian Football Federation, and their integrity strategy. That's what they said, the integrity strategy, the strategies that they have put in place to ensuring that we are able to preserve our game and be fair and be free, and ensure that whatever we do not leave room for doubts. That's what the Nigerian Football Federation are doing. And we also need to update you before we go on that break that City have scored the third goal, and it's the new guy, the new boy, Gabriel Jesus, that has scored the goal. So they lead West Ham by 3-0. Kevin De Bruyne, David Silva, Gabriel Jesus with the goals for Manchester City. Guys, before we go on that break, let's just say a word or two about Manchester City. Kelechi Iheanacho is not even named on the bench, and those are really warning signals for us. I mean, not even on the bench, talk less of having a chance to start the game. It's really alarm bells ringing.
Yeah, very visible to the blind and audible to the deaf. And the coming of Gabriel Jesus, signaled great danger to Iheanacho's regular, playing time with Manchester City. And if you watched his first game for Man City, you knew that there was serious trouble, that Iheanacho needed to either up his game or take his game elsewhere.
So what options will you be giving Iheanacho? Up your game. The window is closed.
It's closed.
He has to up his game.
He has to. I hope he doesn't get demoralized.
I mean, that's the message. You have to up your game and be ready to fight for your place.
Definitely.
Because this also has impact on the Nigerian national team.
It does. I mean, when a player begins to lose his place on the bench, it's just, precedes being declared, surplus to requirements. I think his career, in addition to upping his game, with the way City is now, his career is begging for a move to a Bournemouth, to a Sunderland, where he can play regular playing time. So you should seriously consider that, because the way it is now, for him to have a look in, there has to be a major injury, because he's the third now in the pecking orders. He's fallen behind. So I think as a young player coming up, he needs games, and if he cannot get it
to boost his own confidence,
exactly. If he cannot get it, then it will affect his growth, his development as a player.
All right, so let's go for that break now. When we return from the break, Yemi Adebayo will be joining us. We'll spend some time to talk domestic football, the plans of the Nigerian Football Federation to make sure that the integrity of our game is sustained and is improved upon. We'll be right back. Join us again.